Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast Special Edition series where we go over each and every 2024 NCAA Men's College Basketball Conference Tournament. This is the 17th of 32 shows. Now we're halfway home, and this will be the Atlantic-10. Tournament will be held where it is every year, the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. You know the drill. We'll go over the seedings, and then we will get into the bracket and a lot more. All right. So you're one seed in this tournament with a record of 23-8 overall, 15-3 in conference play. The Richmond Spiders. Second, with a record of 23-8 overall, 15-3 in conference play. The Loyola Chicago Ramblers, coming in third in this conference. 24-6 overall, 14-4 in conference play. The number 24 ranked Dayton Flyers, fourth in this conference. A record of 20-10 overall, 11-7 in conference play. The UMass Minutemen, coming in fifth. 19-12 overall, 11-7 in conference play. The VCU Rams, coming in sixth. 20-11 overall, 10-8 in conference play. The Duquesne Dukes, coming in seventh with a record of 18-12 overall, 9-9 in conference play. The St. Bonaventure Bonnies, coming in eighth with a record of 20-11 overall, 9-9 in conference play. The George Mason Patriots, ninth with a record of 18-12 overall, 9-9 in conference play. The St. Joseph's Hawks, coming in 10th with a record of 15-16 overall, 6-12 in conference play. The LaSalle Explorers, coming in 11th with a record of 12-19 overall, 6-12 in conference play. The Rhode Island Rams, coming in 12th in this conference with a record of 12-19 in conference play, 6-12 in conference play. The Fordham Rams. This is literally the conference of Rams. In 13th with a record of 15-16 overall, 5-13 in conference play. The Davidson Wildcats, in 14th in this league. 12-19 overall, 5-13 in conference play. The St. Louis Billikens in 15th in the league, 15-16 overall, 4-14 in conference play. I completely jinxed this team because of their good non-con, the George Washington Revolutionaries. All right, so similar to the ACC, first rounds we'll do projections total. Second round, one with the total. And then the rest of the way is projections, just the lines. So, first up, first round, which all begins on Tuesday, March 12th, 13 seed Davidson, 12 seed Fordham. Neither of these teams played up to expectations this season. The best guy on the court in this game will probably be Grant Huffman of Davidson. And Davidson also lost David Skogman for the season. But I do project Fordham as a favorite, 1.2, total 140.25, and they'll have a home court advantage of being at the Barclays Center too. So I'm going to advance Fordham. The second of three first round games, 15 seed George Washington, 10 seed LaSalle. George Washington does have a good player in James Bishop the fourth. They're averaging over 18 a game. And LaSalle, I feel like, has overachieved a little bit this year. They have a solid player in Khalil Brantley, averaging over 15 a game. My projection here is George Washington by 7/10, total 150 and 13/20. So I'm going to do the 15/10 upset here. In the third of three first-round games, 14 seed St. Louis, 11 seed Rhode Island. Best guy on the court in this game will probably be St. Louis. This is Gibson Jimerson. Averaging over 15 a game. So they did lose Sincere Parker for a short amount of time. And he hasn't played since March 2nd, so he's been in and out of the lineup with an injury. But I still project St. Louis as a favorite, 1.7 over Rhode Island, total 151 and 9/20, so I'm going to advance St. Louis. All right, second round, first of four on March 13th, which is Wednesday. 19 St. Joe's, 8 seed George Mason. St. Joe's underachieved big time this season. So did George Mason. Best guy on the court. You can make a case for Mason's Keyshawn Hall. Or St. Joe's is Eric Reynolds II. I think St. Joe's is deeper. I project them 2.8, total 142 and 13/20 over George Mason, so I'm going to advance St. Joe's. Second of four second-round games, 12 seed Fordham, 5 seed VCU. VCU, this isn't vintage VCU. It's just not. Their best player is Max Shulga, 15 a game. I project VCU 7.25, so I'm going to advance them. Second of four second-round games, third of four, 15 seed George Washington and 17 St. Bonaventure. This isn't vintage Bonaventure either. Their best player is Chad Venning. Venning averages 14 a game. George Washington just fell off the face of the earth. I project Bonaventure 6.5. So I'm going to advance them. In the last four second-round games, 14 seed St. Louis and 6 seed Duquesne. Duquesne's solid. They have a good twosome in Day Grant and Jimmy Clark III. I project Duquesne 8.75, so I'm going to advance Duquesne. Quarterfinals on Thursday, March 14th. 9 seed St. Joe's, 1 seed Richmond. Richmond's really good, in case you didn't know. I think they're in the conversation for an at-large. But I think that they have a chance to go to Dayton. So we're going to do the resume check at the end, or in the feature segment, or mini segment of this portion of the show. They have an excellent player in Jordan King, who has to be in the conversation for the A-10 Player of the Year. My projection is Richmond by 3.75, so I'm going to advance Richmond. Second of four quarterfinal games, 5 seed VCU, 4 seed UMass. What a great story for UMass. A big-time overachiever this year. Their coach has to be the A-10 Coach of the Year. Although you could argue Richmond. Obviously. So, yeah, Richmond or even a Loyal Chicago's coach. So, that's a 3-horse race for that Coach of the Year award in that league. They have a big two also in Josh Cohen and Matt Cross. But I actually have VCU as a favorite here, 2.8. So I'm going to advance VCU, as VCU will make things interesting. Third of four quarterfinal games, 7 seed St. Bonaventure and 2 seed Loyal Chicago. Loyal Chicago, it's its best season since moving to the A-10. They deserve a lot of credit for turning around this quickly after moving conferences. I thought it was going to be a while before they were going to be good again, but here we are. Good credit to the recruiting and the coaching and all that. Their best player is Desmond Watson, 13 a game, over 4.5 boards, 2.5 assists, is almost a steal. So he's a really good all-around player. I project Loyola Chicago 3.7, so I'm going to advance them. In the last 4 quarterfinal games, 6 seed Duquesne and 3 seed Dayton. Dayton has the best guy on the court, the player of the year in this league, probably, and Deron Holmes, the second. I project Dayton 5.0 for Duquesne, so I have them advancing to the semis. All right, first set of semis will be Saturday, March 16th. Is this going to be on CBS? CBS SN. So it would be 5 seed VCU, 1 seed Richmond. This would be a really good game. You have King and Quinn and Bigelow for Richmond. And then VCU, Shulga and Bomasile and Jackson. But yeah, very interesting game. In-state rivals. But I project Richmond 2.1. So I'm going to advance Richmond to the championship. And the other semifinal, 3 seed Dayton, 2 seed Loyola Chicago. Holmes is the best guy on the court. All due respect to Loyola Chicago. Watson and Alton are really good. We love Sister Claire. We're rooting for them. But Dayton's got the best guy on the court. I project Dayton 2 3/4, so I'm going to advance Dayton to the championship. And the championship on St. Patrick's Day on CBS at 1 o'clock Eastern from Barclays. 3 seed Dayton, 1 seed Richmond. I don't think this will be Bird and Rafferty. Bird and Rafferty are probably going to do the Big Ten like how Nance and Raff used to do it. Probably the best 2 teams in the league, Dayton and Richmond, all due respect to Loyola Chicago. Best guy on the court, probably Darnay Holmes. And that's all due respect to Jordan King. But I project Dayton 3.4. They're just the better team and the more experienced team. And they have a coach that knows how to win these types of games in Anthony Grant. So I'm going to pick the Dayton Flyers to win the 2024 Atlantic-10 tournament, as they'll get the auto bid into the dance. And because I have them winning the auto bid, I think they're in the 8-9 game. I really do. I think that's where Dayton's heading. But if they lose in the title game, probably at 10. If they lose in the semis, I think they go to Dayton. If they lose in the quarters, NIT. So I want to quickly do some of the resumes now that we're in the larger conferences. So, lost to Loyola Chicago recently. So, lost to Northwestern. Beat St. John's. They may make the tournament. Lost to Houston. No shame in that. They have a win over a Big 12 team in Cincinnati. They have a win over UMass in conference play. They beat Duquesne. They beat Rhode Island, who's surprising in this league. They lost to Richmond. They beat UMass, who was surprising. They did lose to VCU, but only by 2 on a Friday. Beat Duquesne at home. Lost to George Mason. Beat St. Joe's, who proved to be a little overrated. And then, like I said earlier, they lost to Loyola Chicago, and then they beat VCU in OT last week. So they have a good resume. They have some nice wins, but I think there's a chance they're on the outside looking in if they lose in the quarters. Loyola Chicago, they're not out of the question either. I think they have an outside chance at an at-large if they lose in the title game. I do. I think there's a better chance of Richmond getting an at-large than Loyola Chicago, but I won't be shocked if Loyola Chicago gets one. They lost to FAU, not bad. They lost to UIC, That's bad. That shouldn't happen. They lost to Tulsa. South Florida's not bad. They lost to Richmond at home. That's okay. They lost to VCU on the road. They lost to St. Bonaventure on the road. But yeah, maybe an outside shot, first 4 out. But I think they do need the auto big to get in. That UIC loss absolutely stings. And I think that it's NIT bound unless it loses in the quarters. Richmond. They might have a good at-large resume. They lost to Boston College. They beat UNLV. That's important. They lost to Wichita. Wichita's not the same. They lost to Northern Iowa. Not the worst Missouri Valley team, and that was on the road. Florida, not a bad loss. Charlotte's not a bad win. They beat Loyola Chicago, big. They beat Dayton, that's big. They did lose to VCU at VCU. And then they won a bunch in a row from February 10th. And then they lost to George Mason recently. But yeah, if they lose in the championship game, I could see them being an at-large. But their resume is better and stronger than Loyola Chicago's. And they lost to Colorado, who might be a tournament team too. But they have better wins than Loyola Chicago, and I think that's the difference between the two teams. Worst case scenario, so I think Richmond, with how my bracket plays out, I have Richmond as an at-large. I think Richmond's at-large. Dayton will win the auto. Loyola Chicago NIT. UMass NIT. VCU maybe NIT. Duquesne maybe NIT. But probably CBI for both, and CBI for Bonaventure, George Mason, and potentially St. Joe's too. So odds for this tournament. Most outstanding player, Deron Holmes of Dayton, for sure. All right, so odds for A10. Dayton's plus 170. Wow, Dayton's a pretty significant favorite. That's shocking. Richmond 6-1, Loyola Chicago 7, UMass 7, VCU 8, Duquesne 12, St. Bonaventure 12, George Mason and St. Joe's are 18, Davidson 45, and Rhode Island, LaSalle, St. Louis, George Washington, Fordham each 250. I think one of those double digits has a shot to be in the semis. I do. I think that one with some value is George Mason at 18-1. They have a good scorer in Keyshawn Hall, and he can rebound too. Even Duquesne has some value at 12. But George Mason has a good one at 18. St. Joe's underachieved this year. Maybe they pull it together. At 18-1, they have Eric Reynolds. But yeah, George Mason, St. Joe's. Who do I like more? I should say St. Joe's because I have them advancing. So yeah, St. Joe's has, to me, the value at 18-1 to win this conference tournament. Although Richmond at 6 and Loyola at 7 and VCU at 8. I would bet all those too. I just can't believe Dayton is this significant of a favorite to win the A10 tournament, which is unbelievable. Now, coaching. I really think that, of course, Mooney needs a better opportunity. 19 years at Richmond, but he deserves a better opportunity elsewhere. Drew Valentine, I think, could potentially bolt Loyola Chicago for somewhere else. Mooney's going to be the coach of the year, although Valentine has a case, as does Frank Martin at UMass, the former South Carolina coach. Maybe he gets back into the Power 5. Who knows? Same with Anthony Grant, but I doubt it. VCU's coaches always leave. I feel bad. Ryan Odom's their coach now. He did a good job this year. Mark Schmidt, I don't think is ever going to leave St. Bonaventure. Keith DeBront of Duquesne did a nice job this year. Billy Lang, St. Joe's underachieved this year, but 19-12 is not a terrible record. Hot seat. Chris Caputo at George Washington for the poor conference season. Keith Ergo did a good job last year, but they took a big step back this year. Archie Miller had a bad year at Rhode Island. Fran Dunphy at LaSalle. Oh my God. The A-10 is filled with former coaches that were in power conferences that were fired or had success elsewhere, like Archie Miller and people like that. I didn't realize that was literally the... Matt McKillop replacing a legend at Davidson's hard. He'll probably stick around, but I don't think anybody in this league is really on the hot seat. I mean, maybe Chris Caputo, but who knows? I mean, to me, nobody really stands out as a hot seat coach in the 8-10, but like some of those big-name coaches I said, maybe those teams are better next year, like LaSalle with Dunphy and maybe Archie Miller at Rhode Island's better. The obvious hot seat guy, I missed on this. Travis Ford, the former Oklahoma State coach. He's 8 years there now. That to me is the winner for most likely fired. Sorry, Travis Ford. All right, so there you have it for the Atlantic-10. That was another long one. Next up's going to be another long one. It's the Big 12.